All right. So you know what? Why don't we get started? All right, we're
Beautiful.
1 minute after 8. So welcome everybody. On the call this evening, we've got our good friend Mr. Ryan Carr, and tonight we're gonna have a little conversation with him in regards to his tiny house that he's built out in Oshawa. But before we get into that, because it's going to be Ryan and Chris kind of doing this interview, or Chris doing the interview with Ryan tonight, I just want to kind of talk to you guys about a few things that have been happening with smart home choice and where things are going. So we've got an upcoming event that's happening on April the 24th. And we've got Anchor Prairie coming out. So he's going to be talking about how to raise capital. So this is something where, some investors struggle with. So he's definitely done incredibly well with it. We've also got Renee Massey coming out, and he's going to be talking about, and this is only applying to people who don't like their full-time jobs, okay? How to quit your full-time job using real estate. And then last but not least, we've got Brian Daly coming out, and he's going to be talking about home inspections. Okay, so things obviously to look out for, things where investors have kind of gotten themselves into trouble. So really good event, and that is on April 24th. You can register for that at Smart Home Choice, or you can also go to Eventbrite and get your tickets there. Now, if you guys haven't been to any of our mastermind events, you're brand new to this call, this is where we do them at the Ajax Casino at 50 Alexander Crossing. Now, the good thing with this venue is it's 24 hours, and they also have their liquor license. So at the break, at the networking, if you want, you can have a drink. Good way to kind of, make an introduction to maybe your potential JV partner. Okay. Now, one of the things is we know that we've got people who do come out from Mississauga or Toronto, and sometimes it's difficult, trying to get across the city. So we've also just launched our virtual membership. Now, if you're a member, you obviously get this already with what you've got. But if you're thinking about maybe joining and you can't make it out to events just because of where you are, virtual membership is now available. You can go to our website for that. Just click on membership. And the good thing with it as well too is that we'll have somebody monitoring that Facebook Live. So if you do have questions for any of the presenters, you can go ahead and fire away, and we'll make sure that we get those questions answered for you. Okay. Now, if you are brand new to real estate investing, here's a class that myself, Chris, and Quentin put on. We try to do it every month. It's a fast start class. This class here, we go through some of the pitfalls that beginning investors make, some of the fears, some of the myths that you may have heard about, and most importantly, we will sit down and we'll actually go through a real life transaction with you guys. Okay, so at the end of that class, when you leave, you'll know how to actually take a look at a property and say, yes, this thing actually makes sense, or no, it doesn't. Now, unfortunately, the one that myself and Chris are doing tomorrow is sold out, but we do have another one that we're doing on April the 16th. Same venue at the Ajax Community Center. Okay, so if you want, again, go to our website, go to Eventbrite, you can register. And last but not least, we're going to be doing a webinar with the city of Oshawa. Now, Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe we're trying to see if we can get it done on April the 29th. Now, if you know the city,
Right.
is it April 29th? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try for that date.
Okay, cool. Now, if you know the city, they don't like working after hours. Okay, so what we're going to try and do is we're going to do a lunch and learn. I think that's what we're shooting for. So we'll probably do it around noon time or something like that, Chris. Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds a lot of fun actually.
Yeah, yeah. All
People
right.
their lunch break. Sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And then last but not least, this is our team. So myself, Chris, and Quentin, we are real estate agents and we're also real estate investors. And then we also have Darlene Hibbert, who is my wife, and that is who does our in-house financing. And we also have new to the team, my daughter, Ciara, and our cousin, Adelaide. So they're doing our admin. And one of the reasons why we brought them on is because they wanted to start their own business. And I said, listen, before you start your own business, it probably makes sense to actually work for a business first, just kind of see the ins and outs. So they're on board. They've actually been doing some really good work so far. So they're excited about it. All right. So with that, Mr. Hummel. Oh,
Yes.
before I do that, please do us a favor, and this is more for Ryan Carr. Turn off your phones, turn off Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. I've got my phone here. I've turned it down. I ain't holding it. All right. And and give Ryan Carr your undivided attention. He's done some incredible things. Not only this year, but just since he's been in real estate investing, and I think you guys are going to learn a lot from him this evening. Okay, so with that, Chris, I am going to pass it over to you.
All right, good. Let's see how we're going to do this handoff.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Show my screen. Okay, so what do you guys see, by the way? Me?
I see 2, 4, the 5 of you.
All right, great. Do you also see me?
I see you, I see Gary, and I see me.
Okay, well,
right.
I don't see me. I don't see me, but that's no good. All right, well, anyways, it doesn't matter. Ryan, listen, I know what your face looks like, so I'm not worried about that. I don't see any of you guys. So Ryan has given me a nice little intro blurb that I'm going to read for all of you because he wanted me to get this right. So Ryan Carr is a full-time real estate investor from the GTA. Specializes in unconventional residential purchases, new construction concepts, flipping, and coaching others to do the same. Now, among other things, Ryan has been known in the industry for his knack at finding hidden opportunities as well as contributing regularly to Canadian Real Estate Wealth magazine. Oh, look at that. Huh? Look at that.
You have it. Oh, my God.
I have one. I have several. In fact, I saw you in there, too. I said, but anyways, Ryan, that ain't nothing. I see you in there every month, so I'm not that impressed. Guys, go get your copy. All right, good stuff. In fact, I like what we're going to kind of talk about. Some of the stuff that's in this magazine actually today. Put me in, coach. So, guys, go pick up the magazine. All right. So Gary introduced all of us. Let me make sure that. Oh, turn off your cell phones. Yes, there we go. Oh, Ryan Carr, there we go. Beautiful face. All right. Hey, look at us.
There we are.
Having a good time, huh? This is at the coach house, so like I said, we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So Ryan, listen, I wanted just to get into who you are. I know you started from this guy, and you have now become this guy, right? But truth be told, that's not you, is it?
That is not me, but I was that guy. Yep, it's true.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so let's take you from going from this guy to this guy. How did it happen? Who is Ryan Carr in particular?
Yeah, man. So thanks for having me out, guys. So that guy that you see there, no, it's not me, but yeah, it's true. I used to be a mechanic. I was a mechanic. I went to Durham College to get my apprenticeship ticket done, and after I had graduated from school, I'd done a little bit of traveling, and I realized that working on cars wasn't really fulfilling for me. So I took a job building armored vehicles for 3 years.
Okay.
That was a little bit of a change from being a mechanic. And after I got done building armored vehicles, involuntarily being done building armored vehicles, the company had laid a whole bunch of us off, and I was one of those people. And in saying so, I was flipping houses on the side in my part-time and or in my spare time. And going from working full-time 9 to 5 to being laid off, I had to make a decision, and that decision was like, what am I going to do with my days? And I had some successes in real estate, and I then took my real estate career and made it my full-time gig, and that's how I met you guys. That's how I ended up on your show.
Right. So, give us an idea. How long ago was that?
Yeah, 2012. 2012, my wife and I bought our first house, bank sale, fixer-upper property just outside of Oshawa, Ontario.
Right.
And then it just grew from there.
So, so when I bought my first property, it was in 2011. But I didn't know anything about what I was doing. How did you feel?
Oh man, I knew nothing. Like I didn't know the cost of it. I didn't know the cost of a 2x4, Chris. Like zero about real estate.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay.
Yeah.
Incredible. We see you right here in front of a backhoe, and
yeah.
Coming from, I don't know anything about it, not even a 2x4. That's incredible.
Yeah. It was a blast.
Yeah, well, no kidding. I mean, listen, I think at that point, though, it sounded like your mind was open to those possibilities and to the opportunities, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, like the property that we had bought, we were looking for a challenge. It was on a couple acres. We wanted like this kind of fixer-upper type of situation that you see on TV, and we thought that was pretty cool. So, we kind of took that, ran with it. I said, you know what, just like you said earlier today, put me in, coach. Let's just take it and run with it and try it out. And even it's funny because at the time my realtor told me, she was like, you could buy like a finished house in town for cheaper than you're buying this fixer-upper in the country with the detached garage and the land and all the stuff. I'm like, no, we want the project. We want to go for this. And that turned out to be a pretty good, I guess you call it a flip. It was a couple of years later and our principal residence, but we ended up turning that one over for a profit a few years beyond the purchase date, and we did quite well.
Nice. So it's always kind of just been in you, right, Ryan? Because I mean, you've always kind of taken more of the riskier road when it comes to real estate investing. And maybe not just, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I got a funny story related to that. So I worked for a guy when I was working as a mechanic, and his name was Ken, and he was one of the bosses at the shop. And I remember him telling me as we were working on cars, he used to say all the time, when I was an apprentice and when I was learning, give me the shittiest job. Like give me the worst job in the shop. I'll take it. Like give me all the transmissions and give me all the heavy stuff and give me the tough, fuel lines and give me the shittiest job that's out there, because I want to improve my skills. I want to get better. And that always stuck with me. Interestingly, even though it was related to cars, it was more related to business and more related to life. And I've really rolled that into my real estate career, like 10 years later, 12 years later, from actually being a mechanic starting out. I always said, like, give me the toughest route, give me the hardest way to make money. I want to learn from it. I want to get through it. I'm going to come up better on the other side. And that's really, not to jump ahead, but that's what led me into the tiny house at this stage of my career.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So 2012, you bought that first house. You did pretty well. Between the time that you had bought the house and then you actually sold it, this is your primary residence I'm talking about. You had done some other jobs in between, right?
Yeah, actually 6 months after buying that first house, that same realtor called me up and she says, hey, you ever thought about buying a rental property? And I'm like, absolutely not. I have not. Right? I'm like, no, I never have. And she's like, oh, you got to come and check this place out. It needs a little bit of work, kind of like what you're doing now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like we just bought our first place. I don't have a lot of money. Like, I'm not sure how we're going to do this. Right. She goes, just come check it out. You got to trust me. So I did. We scraped together the money. We did that deal. And that was our first experience at the rental property game, right? Which was completely different than the principal residence side, because now you're dealing with tenants and other people and landlord, tenant board, and all this stuff. So that was my first kick at landlording for sure.
Okay, so you learned a lot, right? I mean, from between the time that you bought this kind of rundown country property to now 6 or so months later, you buy a rental property. So you're learning a lot in a short period of time.
Yeah, man, the learning curve was steep. I soaked up as much YouTube and Google and Homes on Homes as I could. Like, I didn't know there was anything like a meetup group, or like I didn't know there was any of this stuff. I had no idea. Maybe it didn't even exist at that time.
Oh, I killed YouTube videos as well too. Loved it.
Yeah. The best tool, better than a hammer and a tool belt. YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to talk about the tiny house?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. All right, guys. All right. Look at that. Beautiful.
Hey.
Oh,
that's a beautiful looking home, Ryan. I loved it.
I know.
It was really nice.
Good.
Really nice. If I got kicked out, I would move in there.
I'd screen you as a tenant. Absolutely, I'd screen you.
Good job, Ryan.
You'd be in the running for sure.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so let's talk about the tiny house. Now, listen, you got a lot of hype on this thing, and I think it's fantastic what the attention rather that you brought to the area, which is really great. You were in the news, in the newspapers. Give us an idea of who came out to see or who contacted you, newspaper wise.
Yeah, so this one went off the charts. Like, we just did an interview with City TV News when the property went live. I'm supposed to be on Global News tomorrow morning. Tomorrow being today being March 26th, 2019. So tomorrow morning I'll be on Global
what time?
talking about it. I'm not sure. They're coming out in the morning to film it, but I don't know when it goes
Okay.
to the actual, if it's a lunch thing or the evening news. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
We were in the Toronto Star. We were in the local newspapers. I was in a local newspaper today, and I didn't even know. My wife brought me the paper. She goes, "Oh, look, here you are." So I'm like, "Oh, hilarious!" So like
That's pretty
things are
cool.
popping up, and YouTube had 8 or 10,000 views in the first 48
Wow.
hours. I mean,
Wow.
Jeez.
lots of lovers, lots of haters. I mean,
Lots of
it
haters.
it got crazy. Facebook had over 100,000 impressions. Like, insane, man.
Yeah. So okay. So listen. Let's get to it. What prompted you? How did you get into the property? Number one. What prompted you to take on this kind of a project?
Yeah, so this one here was an MLS deal. I typically buy half private, half on the MLS. This
Hmm.
one came through the MLS, just like any other property would.
Nice.
It showed up in my inbox, and I clicked the link, and here this property was being shown as 2 pieces of land for 1 purchase price. So
Mhm.
that was the very beginning of my journey through the tiny house, and also the adjacent property beside it. And when I saw it, I thought, gosh, that looks pretty unique. I like a challenge. Why don't I dig a bit deeper into this one and see what it's all about?
Cool. That was it, huh? It's just, hey, I need a challenge. I'm bored right now. Let's just do something, right?
Well,
Okay.
I like to keep my pipeline pretty full, so I'm always working, 6 months ahead kind of thing because I got full-time staff. So in order to close on these properties, finance them, prepare
Yeah.
for the renovations, get everything in line, that takes time. So you've got to be working far ahead of your crew to make sure
Right.
that they have a place to go.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So listen, a lot of hype on this one. Now the people want to know. We talked about this yesterday, but the people want to know how many offers did you get? What did it sell for? I got to put it out there, right?
I
You
know,
got
I
to ask
know,
these
I
questions.
know.
I know you don't want
For
to
sure.
answer, but I got to ask these hard.
Uh,
Ah,
I'm not a showy guy, but I'll answer it.
yeah.
Yeah, so we had 7 offers. We held offers for 5 or 6 days, a week, something
Mhm.
like that. We put it up on a Thursday, took offers on a Tuesday, and yeah, we had 6 offers that night, and then 1 following. So 7 total offers. It
Right.
sold for 200,000, which is super cool. That's what we listed it for. And the truth is, we didn't really know what it was going to sell for because
Right.
this has
Right.
never been done.
Right. And how did you guys even price it, for that matter?
we didn't. We let the market price it. Like we're comping raw land, we're comping bachelor condos, we're comping the cheapest house that's sold in central Oshawa in the last 180 days. We're comping anything that we could, consider like entry level product. We
Right.
would
Right.
comp, and we just kind of came at this figure of about $200,000. We're like, okay, what would a trailer be worth? What would a Winnebago be worth? What would a little structure be worth? What would it cost to build a coach house? What's the land worth? We just kind of tried to paint a picture and put it out to market with something that we felt was reasonable for a starting point, and that's
Right.
where we ended up. So we're thrilled.
Now
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if you know the answer to this here, Ryan, but do you know what that buyer is going to use this home for? Did they say or kind of hint to you, like, is it for rental, for themselves?
It sounds to me like it's an investor.
Okay.
So I'll put it out there. The first offer that we got fell through. They had 3 days conditions to fulfill some things that they needed to do, and the very last minute it fell through. So that being said, the second person that was in the running chimed in and said, "Yeah, I'm still interested, still want it. Let's work on this deal together." So they came through, and it sounded to me like there was some investment potential for them.
right. Okay. Well, I got to ask you then, if do you have a feeling? Do you feel that if you would have priced it 50,000 higher, what do you think would have happened?
Tough to say, man. I mean,
Yeah.
the hype was so big, and the foot traffic was so great,
Hmm.
and it's really hard to look back. Like at
Yeah.
250,000, what can you buy for 250? You start looking into, maybe you're into a condo property, or maybe you're
Hmm.
into a different style of home. I'm not really sure.
Right.
This was something that, even when I was working with my team to try to price it, we were trying to figure out, like, is this something I should even sell privately? Just put it on Kijiji and see what happens, because it's the cheapest thing out there, right? And I said, no. You know what? I'm a big advocate of supporting realtors, first of all, but
Appreciate it.
yeah, I wanted to put it out to market, and I wanted to give it the most fair chance that I could. And in saying that, I feel that a realtor is the best way to go about doing so.
Cool. So, I mean, listen, regardless, you're happy with what happened. You're happy with the attention that it got. You're happy with the price. I mean, you signed on the line. So you're obviously really happy with that. And you know what? Listen, to do what you do, you got to make some money. So frankly, you made some money, right?
We did.
So you're happy.
I'm a happy guy.
Good, man. Good.
I'm a happy guy.
Well, listen, can we talk a little bit about who may not be as happy? Can we get to that?
Where's this going? I don't know.
Oh, yes. This is what I wanted to get to. Look at that. Oh my God.
Oh, the haters.
The haters.
Haterade, yeah.
And this is Facebook, right? This is off your Facebook page, right?
This was actually off of the City News Facebook.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, look. This I picked this up yesterday, I think. So already 485 comments. You know, tons of hate, lots of love. By the way, still lots of love. Okay, lots of love.
Let's read a few. This is good. Can't you buy one of these at Home Depot? No, you can't. Last I checked, you can't buy dirt at Home Depot. Okay, next, 200K is too much. For 60K or 70K, it would be okay. Well, sorry. Sucks to be you, but it didn't work out that way. What's the next one? I'm in the country and living in 4,000 square feet, and I paid $350,000 and I have 2 acres. Move rural. Guys, I don't know where you can buy 4,000 square feet on 2 acres for 350 Gs in the GTA market. But if you can, please send me that comp because I would love to see it.
Yeah, so that property is probably like right beside Nunavut or something. Must be.
Yeah.
That's where we're moving to.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You know what? I think people forget that there's land involved here, right? You know what? It seems like you look at some of these properties in Toronto, and the frontage is just smaller and smaller and smaller. No backyard, no front yard. It's just a house. It's just a house, right? And I think this is what people forget. There's land involved here, and the land is the pricey part, right?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, raw land sells for the price that the tiny home sold for to begin with.
Yeah, that's the premium right there, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, listen, you know what? Here's the good thing about haters. When you get haters, you know you're doing something right.
That's right.
So this is why I wanted to put it up. I wanted to show that, hey, okay, there's haters out there, but it's actually a good thing. Strangely enough, it's a good thing.
I love it.
So I don't know. I think you love it because here's the thing. Most of these are probably haters, and all that does is just fuels. It makes more people come and come and come. So isn't it the craziest thing? Right?
You know, it's really easy to hate though in your basement. On a keyboard.
I'm in my basement on a keyboard.
It's true. Hey, people hate Nickelback, but I think they've been pretty successful, so I'll take it.
Right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. I mean, the lovers buy the ticket because they love the show, right? The haters buy the ticket because they want to just hate the show. But everyone's buying a ticket. It's the craziest thing. All right. Well, listen. I'd love to get on to some of the other projects that you've been doing. Why don't we talk about the coach house real quick? Now, this one I'd seen last summer. So tell me, where are you guys at with it? And why did you start? Why did you get into a coach house? Actually, let's just kind of back up a little bit. What is a coach house? How's that?
Yeah, so a coach house traditionally would be a detached structure in relation to residential. It would be a detached structure, typically in somebody's backyard. That would be an accessory dwelling of sorts. Somebody would live in that just like somebody would live in a basement apartment. Okay.
So you got 2 houses essentially, right? Now, is there a basement in this coach house?
In this coach house? No basement. Slab on grade construction.
Bylaw wise, any chance to have put a basement in this thing?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. So let's talk about the bylaws then.
Okay.
I believe you had to go through a bunch of hoops, did you not?
This one, okay, so I'll back it up. So the challenge in the city of Oshawa, which is one of my main focuses for investment, is that they don't allow coach houses as of right?
Okay.
Peterborough does, which is a great market in the GTA. Coburg does. Midland does, Markham does, a lot of places around do, where you can have a separate structure or living quarters up above a garage, for example.
Right.
Oshawa, not so. It's really too bad they're behind the times on it, because I think this is going to be the next big thing. But in any case, and you know what? Maybe you guys should bring this up in your lunch and learn with the city of Oshawa.
Yes.
Hey,
In
what
fact,
about some coach houses? But anyways, in order to get a coach house in the city of Oshawa would be too challenging, a rezoning process, and even then it's not guaranteed. So with this one here, I had to do it a little bit differently in terms of how to comply with the zoning bylaw, how I got my permits, and so on and so forth, in order to meet all of the compliance that the city set forth.
So give us an idea. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna ask you about this, but I'm also curious about how the whole bylaw thing worked for the tiny house too. So we'll jump in. We'll jump right back into that in a minute. But I kind of want to know how you got around the compliance here for Oshawa.
On the coach house or the tiny house?
The coach house right now.
Okay, so truthfully, I didn't get around any compliance, right? I'm not a believer in getting around anything. You need to give me the rules and I'll work within those. So as far as the rules go for this, I built it in such a way that the structure is still connected to the existing house, but just barely. Okay, so in saying that, the idea with a coach house and the reason that they perform so well is you've got separate living structure, you've got separate utility services like separate furnace, water meter, hydro meter. Everything is completely separate from the main dwelling. And the big one for me is sound, because I've got in-house property management. Sound is like just a killer in rentals. You know, people that bowl in the middle of the night and ride their bicycles around on the main floor and drop plates and like do whatever they do. Sound is the worst, right? Basement apartments are tough for that. So anytime I can get away from a basement apartment, I will do so. But basement apartments, I'm still a big believer in, because they're the most economical way to add a second suite. So I'm by no means knocking basement apartments. I got lots of them. This one I wanted to try out and see how it performed, and it's doing quite well.
So Brian, when you say that it's connected, how is it connected?
It's connected with a short little hallway. So if you look at it from the top, it looks like two squares. So you got two. I don't know if these guys can see my screen, but you got two squares connected with what would essentially be a breezeway. Okay, now the breezeway has to be heated in the city of Oshawa. It needs to be part of the house and so on. But and anyways, that's how we got around doing a traditional coach house being fully detached. You have to build it as an addition.
So when you say a breezeway, like is there a door, a little hallway, and then another door, but they're locked?
Something like that. Yeah. In this case, there's no doors, but in order to get our permits for occupancy, you start like that, and then you successively work it through a process to close off that unit. And make it a fully functioning accessory suite.
Okay. Cool.
So let's back up real quick, if you would. Let's go back to the tiny house, because I think, you know, the coach house just brought up, we were talking about the bylaw. So how did it work here for the tiny house?
Yeah, so the tiny house, when I saw this property, I looked at the way that the MLS was reading. And it read such that there was 2 municipal addresses for sale under one purchase price. I'm like, okay, this is interesting to me. Tell me more. So I'm reading through and I'm looking at the way the title was written. And if anybody's seen on an MLS purchase agreement where it says legal description, it's usually in that top bar near the purchase price and the address and the taxes. Legal description. Legal description will tell you quite a bit about a parcel of land, right? Without a whole lot of information to start with. Like the way the title was written in this property was such that the tiny house was on a whole lot and the house beside it was also on a whole lot. And in saying that, I was actually able to put the part line back between the parcels of land in order to have the tiny house on its own lot again and the main house on its own lot again.
So the frontage on this one then it's basically a full lot, right?
It's a full lot.
We got 33 feet, right? Frontage?
Yeah, 33 by 115. There's a whole bunch of easements on the property as well. But yeah, it's a full lot.
That's incredible.
And then Brian, sorry, while we're back on the tiny house here, did you guys kind of come up with an idea in regards to what you think you could rent it for?
You know what, I kind of kicked it around, but I don't really know. Like, this is a novelty in the market, right? So I couldn't even guess. Like, your guess would be as good as mine. Some people had the idea of maybe doing an Airbnb. because it's a novelty, and you could probably get more rent on an Airbnb basis than you could as a single family home. So that might be an option if it was furnished. So like, it's tough, man. Like there's nothing to comp, right? Like what bachelor apartments rent for $900, $950 plus utilities, right? But this is a full house with your own yard and a deck and parking. And so, you know, is it worth 1,800? Well, no, because you can probably rent a full house for 1,800. It's like, you know.
Yeah, but you know what though, you're probably right. I bet you the Airbnb would work quite well with it, just because it's unique.
Yeah.
And it's got so much buzz that people would probably want to spend a weekend in here, right? I would.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure. You know what? Whoever the owner is that ends up with it, you know, if they do the Airbnb thing, like play off all the hype. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Play it up. It's great.
Yeah.
Free press for them.
Yeah, I would just take a screenshot of your Facebook page there and then just put it there on the Airbnb site.
If you want to be part of the haters, you can come join the tiny.
Yeah. That'd be great. Well, it definitely has that cool, right? For sure. All right. Okay, good stuff. So, all right, listen. I mean, why don't we talk maybe about some numbers on the coach house? Because I know one of the things we kind of talked about was, you know, is this something that can really work for investors? And I know that it, you know, it can theoretically, but maybe we can talk a little bit about the numbers here on you know, construction costs. Is this something that an investor would or could do?
Yeah. Oh my God. 100%. So you guys are big in the Peterborough market. You like Peterborough. So for those guys up in Peterborough that want to consider doing something like this as a fully detached structure, I mean, absolutely. Look into the math, look into the numbers, run the comps, and see if you can buy a property for X, put a certain amount into it based on how big you want to build this coach house structure, and exit at some point with whatever your end point may be. Like, I'm all for it. I think these are the best way to add value and the best way for a tenant to enjoy the place they live. And I really love it. I think it's just a great way to add units.
Right. So let's say, for example, now I mean, obviously you're the builder here, but let's say somebody wanted to get into a coach house. What's the size of your coach house? About 800?
I think it was 800, 850, somewhere in there.
850? Okay.
Yeah, it's a nice 2-bed with some good open concept living space.
Yeah, beautiful. What do you think the cost would be for an investor?
Yeah, so if somebody was going to build that thing there, I would ballpark a guess at in the 150 to 200,000 range, somewhere in there, to put that structure up as a coach house.
Yeah, I mean, and of course you'll get some really good rent. The difficulty, of course, is this something that like how would it appraise? I think is really
that's right. That's right. So like I was saying before, this isn't the most cost effective way to add a second suite, right? Like you can go bang a basement apartment in for 75 grand, and you can do 2 or 3 of them for the price of this, right? The challenge becomes, how are you going out there buying properties? What are you buying? What is the opportunity? In this case, I couldn't do a basement apartment here, right? So when I'm doing properties with coach houses, I'm doing them for a very specific reason. Okay, buying a property where you can put an accessory suite in a basement is going to be the most economical way, hands down. Right? There's no better way to add square footage than to add a second unit in existing square footage.
Well, listen, I guess that there's the what am I thinking here? Hidden opportunities bit right there. So I mean, for you, you're always trying to do something different, right? Which we appreciate. You're always looking for a new challenge, and obviously this is one of them. This coach house right now, what stage are you at in as far as that?
Oh, it's done, rented, permits are closed. It's great.
Beautiful. Okay. Any plans on another one?
I would do another one if the property was right. You know, I was looking at a property there the other day. It was on a 200-foot deep lot, right? Tons of space to do a coach house. Would have been amazing, right? The deal didn't work out, whatever.
So Ryan, so you're actually keeping this as part of your portfolio?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And it obviously, it obviously cash flows. Obviously, the numbers make sense.
Oh, cash flow is great. I mean, the property rents for, was it 1,500 or 1,550?
Yeah.
In this coach house, and then the front house rents for about the same. And we're actually turning the vacancy over, and I think we're going to get higher rents in the front now So I mean, the whole house grosses about 3,100 a month right now, which is, I think it's great.
And what was the total cost for it? So buying that one and then finishing that coach house.
Well, again, my costs are going to be different. Like, so what Chris was
Right.
asking was, what's it going to cost to put this thing up? So if you banked on 150 to 200 Gs, what you're going to want to do as the buyer, right, is you're going to want to be looking for properties that don't have basement apartment opportunity. So for anybody watching right now, the reason that coach houses work and where the hidden opportunity with coach houses lies is being able to buy pieces of land or properties that other investors don't want because they're not thinking creatively, and because they don't want it and they're not thinking creatively, you can pick up that property at a cheaper entry price and afford to put a more expensive second unit on the back of it and get better rents. That's how this has to work.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense, as opposed to going for that beautiful property where you might put in that basement apartment. This is definitely another way to skin that cat. This is great. Creative. We love it. We love it. Okay, so listen, let's talk a little bit more about creative here, because you know what? You have for years been known as the vertical split guy. So, number one,
we're just pulling out all the stops tonight, eh? Tell me about all your deals. Tell me about all the cool stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, listen, I mean, people know you for that, right? This is how we met you. We met you doing this kind of stuff, and we were already impressed. We loved it. And here's the thing, what you said earlier was you're very concerned about sound. And we know that with respect to apartments, basement apartments especially, it's tough with the sound, right? It's really tough. I mean, you put in that rock saw, you put in the resilient channel, it doesn't really help a whole lot, right? I mean, there's a lot you can do, but it's nothing's perfect at the end of the day. It's true. The coach house, fantastic. Now, the virtual split, though, we were really impressed when we started seeing that. And I know you were doing tours and the whole nine. So take us through kind of how you conceptualized that, how you thought about it, and you know what, hey, why? Why in particular did you do that?
Yeah, again, this was like finding that hidden opportunity, right? So for me, I was always looking to do something a little bit more creative with properties than what other people were doing in the market. And that's what it helped set me apart when I got my start in the industry, was doing stuff like this. So the vertical split was born, I don't even know, 5 years ago, maybe 5. We had some friends that owned an apartment in Bowmanville, which is just outside of Oshawa, still in the GTA. And they had this really cool apartment, and it was kind of set up like a split level home where the front unit had part of the main floor in the upstairs, and the back unit had part of the main floor in the downstairs. And I'm in this thing, and I'm like, God, this is so cool. You know, my wife said, you should maybe try and replicate this in some of your properties. I'm like, okay. So I'm looking at bungalows and 2-story homes and trying to figure out what can we do here to make these things perform better, separate sound, and even get higher rents. And the vertical split was born. So what we had ended up doing was we had cut up these bungalows in a way to sort of replicate that of a townhouse or a semi-detached home by using the same square footage, right, but just changing the way that we laid out the property. And we gave people, more natural light, more living space, more access to ground level entrances, stuff like this. And the tenants appreciate it. And in doing so, they pay more rent.
They get stairs, they get their own basement, right?
Typically, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's fantastic, and that's why we really liked it, because I mean, we also you can see that there's more rent potential as well, and I think that's what you've been finding, right?
I have, and it's interesting because back 5 years ago when I first started this, we were seeing an average of $200 to $400 a month higher in rent, which was great. And now in the last, I'm going to say 12 months ish, because rent prices have crept up so much in the last 24 months kind of thing, the vertical split isn't that much more effective anymore because people are at their maximum spend. Like they're right at the limit. So vertical split basement apartment, 1 bed, 2 bed, whatever, just get me a place to live. So we're not seeing the rent increases that we used to see 5 years ago, but the market's always changing, the market's always turning. But the sound performance and the the smell characteristics and these things, they never leave. They're timeless.
Yeah, I mean, and the appeal as well. I mean, you know what, I find that there's a market specifically for basement apartments, and there's a market for anything that's not a basement apartment. right? I mean, you go on Kijiji and that's what you see. You say, I don't want a basement apartment. Basement apartments typically will rent for less, and that's, it is what it is. And, we work within that, but with the vertical split, of course, you get that everybody's got their own space above ground. So, I understand what you're saying now about the rent not creeping up as quickly, but there's a whole lot of positives.
Yeah,
So with respect to that now, what about cost? If we're talking about a typical basement apartment, $75K. I mean, I know there's a lot of dependence in that number, but what would you say? How do the costs compare?
Yeah, I've done them for equivalent pricing. Like, we do lots of basements, we do lots of vertical splits. I've done them for the same price. I've done them for 10 or 15% more. Right. The biggest thing that I like to look for is properties that need a reno upstairs, and then obviously a completely fresh basement downstairs. There's no sense doing a vertical split in properties that have, beautiful paint, nice flooring, and new kitchens on the main. Like, it just wouldn't be cost effective. Then we end up back in the coach house situation where we bought wrong. So you want to make sure that you're buying right for a coach house. You got to buy right for a vertical split. You got to buy right for a basement apartment. Right. That's why when I'm looking at opportunities, the tiny house is something altogether different. But like, I'm not the vertical split guy. I'm not the tiny house guy. I'm the opportunity guy. Wherever the opportunity lies, that's where we go.
Yeah, and I think that's the best title for you, right? Is the opportunity guy, because you're always, whenever things change, you're flowing through it like water, right? Okay, this makes sense. This makes sense, and you move with it, right? Which is great.
For sure. Yeah. It keeps it fresh too. Like, if you work for Miller Paving and you're a spray painter, the only two colors that you can spray are brown and beige, because all of their trucks are brown and beige. And if all you do is one thing all the time, it's good to be, to do that one thing really, really well. But from time to time, it's good to mix it up and throw something a little bit unique in the mix, and I don't know, it's fun.
Right.
Yeah, it's fun. It is a lot of fun. I mean, I enjoy going out to your properties. I've been out to a number of your properties. It's a lot of fun. It's a great learning experience. And, for a lot of you guys out there who haven't started investing yet, who haven't set foot in a property, I mean, it's a huge learning experience, right? I think, Ryan, I mean, I know I don't want to jump the gun too much, but I mean, this is something that you do, right? You take investors out and you show them, hands-on. Right?
I do. That's the biggest thing that I never had in my career starting out. I never had coaching. I never had, like, nobody, like I was saying before, I learned off YouTube, right? Nobody ever was there to show me the way necessarily in a formal sense. So I do that for people, bring them out, show them what's up. They can meet my staff. They can, learn all the stuff that I've done over the years, and hopefully take that back to their businesses and do it for themselves.
Beautiful. All right, listen, what other projects are you working on? What can we expect to see from the opportunity guy? Maybe we'll christen that label.
Yeah. So what do we got on the go? We got 8 active projects on the go right now. We got 14 units of multifamily being done on Lake Ontario. We've got a couple infill development projects going, some new build duplexes, severances, land assembly, stuff like that. I've got, what else do I have on the go? Guys, I actually lose track of property sometimes. It's crazy.
I get it. Tell us a quick story. Maybe something right now that you've got going on that it's just driving you crazy. Because I bet you that one you remember.
Driving me crazy. Ooh.
Everything.
What's driving me crazy? You know what? Infill development sometimes can be a challenge, and I think the biggest thing there is the red tape. So you see this in the news all the time. Is people use the term red tape. Red tape means bullshit from the city that you have to sift through and wait for and pay for until you get all of the permits and the go ahead to put the shovel in the ground. Wow. That's the challenge with that is there's so many.
Well, it is. Well, you know what it is. Yeah. So if they're interviewing there in CP24, they're talking about all the red tape. They say, Ryan Carr is going through some bullshit again.
Yeah. Here we are. Somebody wants something that I got to pay $5,000 to get through. I'm serious when I say, like, it takes time to get a development done, because, like, I got a land severance going, and I won't even mention the town. We'll just say it's a municipality or a city or one of the two, and I got a development. What's that?
I said you don't want to embarrass anyone.
we will leave it just generic, right?
That's right.
Some vanilla town in Ontario.
There you go.
I got a development going, and you know, the process is taking forever, just forever. Bylaws and planners and city officials and you know the neighbors and you know don't touch that tree. Jesus, like it gets crazy sometimes. So that's one of the major things that I'm sifting through. If you really want to know some of the struggles of my day, that's one of the right. But I think the bigger thing to understand here is there's opportunity, obviously, but like, what's the end result? In this case, I'm going to have two beautiful, brand new, purpose-built duplexes, okay, in a piece of town that's fantastic. That'll get top quality rent. That will have great people living in it. That will have tremendous equity upside whenever we decide to exit, or tremendous refi value whenever we decide to refi. Right. So you got to look at the, you know, what's the end goal? What are we going to get out of this by going through all of the headaches?
Well, man, a lot of people would be in awe of what it is that you do. So that's great. Something outside of real estate. What aside from real estate, what are your hobbies? What other interests do you have?
I like cars, man. I like cars. I don't know if you guys know that about me.
I didn't. Well, I mean, aside from the mechanic part.
Other than the mechanic, yeah. I've got an antique car. It's an older 1934 Ford Roadster. One of those full fendered hot rod type of things. Fantastic car. I've been working on this for a number of years. That's one of my passions right now. Looking forward to getting that done.
I wish I had a picture. Send me a picture, man. Send us a picture. All right, listen, inspiration. I mean, I know you talked about YouTube. Who do you follow? And don't say YouTube, man, please. Books, podcasts. Well, I mean, where do you get the inspiration from? Who do you follow? Words of wisdom, something like that.
Yeah, I'm a generally self-motivated guy. Like, I don't idolize Steve Jobs or Richard Branson or any of these guys. I've never done that. I don't understand it. Right now, I'm reading a book by Brendon Burchard called High Performance Habits. That's been pretty cool, just to get your mind in the right space for not just working on the business, but working on yourself. Right? I'm a very linear thinker. Like, for anybody out there that wants to learn their why, like, you're not going to come to a guy like me because I won't be able to help you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a linear thinker. We got to get this deal done. Let's do deals. You want to learn how to do deals? I'll show you how to do deals. But I'm not like an inner thought, you know, challenge my mind kind of guy. I'm like, hey, let's just get out there and let's do it. So I never idolized people. It wasn't my thing.
Yeah, you know what you just said, they just reminded me of something. You know, when I was kind of getting into this and getting my mindset right, Jim Rohn was one of my guys that I kind of looked up to, and he had a saying, what you just said, it kind of reminded me of it, was work hard on your job, you can make a living, and work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune, which is what you're doing, right? So
it's true. It's been great. It's been great. There's tons, like, oh my God, there's tons of guys, Dale Carnegie and Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins, like, there's tons of guys out there, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah. Okay, so listen, we talked about bringing people around, showing them how to do deals. So did you want to explore that a little bit for me?
Yeah. So I've launched a new coaching platform that I just started early 2019. I'm only taking on 12 clients, right? I can only handle 12 clients and actually give them my full attention. This is something that I really noticed, just like you guys do with the Fast Start class. Something that I've really noticed in the industry is, in my opinion, lacking right now, right? There's tons of content out there that people can sift through for free, but the challenge is that they need to actually go to somebody to take that content and make it work for them, right? And my coaching platform isn't a fancy build out. It's a one-on-one. You're working with me just like your clients work directly with you guys. And you know, for that, I think the clients really appreciate it because you actually get the tactile experience of somebody that's actually done it. So that's what I've been about for the last couple months, and it's been great for the people I'm working with.
That's huge. Cool. I like that.
Okay, listen, you talked about your napkin deals. I think I'm interested. I think people would be interested just as much. What's up? What's a napkin deal?
Yeah, you know what? The napkin is something I came up with on my own because, again, I don't follow people. Right? It's not my thing. I came up with this thing on my own where I was trying to evaluate deals while I'm standing there on a property in a quick and expedited method. So I'm like, you know what? Every time I'm in a property or I'm looking around, I'm always trying to figure out how to do this, and I'm always writing on the back of an envelope or back of a napkin. And
Right.
I put together a quick formula on how you can do that when you're literally standing there in a house looking around saying, is this thing worth it or not? So that's what I put together, and I literally use it every day. It's my cell phone screensaver background.
Nice. It's quick, easy, simple, right?
Four lines.
Oh, look at that. 4 lines, how to evaluate a deal on the back of a napkin.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. No spreadsheet, none of that bullshit. Like just straight up, this is what we're doing. 4 lines, fire it out there. Is this a good deal or is this not a good deal? On we go.
That's good. That's good. You know what? Because Gary and I, when we're doing our fast start classes, this is kind of things that we do too, right? I mean, yeah, we've got a little bit of a spreadsheet, but we use some of those rule of thumbs as well. So that's something that, because you may not have that cell signal or battery, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's room for spreadsheets. Don't get me wrong. Like you gotta know, you gotta understand the math. You gotta understand why you're doing something, right? This for me, because I've done this so many times now, is a quick way to evaluate. But when I was new to the business, that for me was just a good way to say, yes, I should sink my time into doing a spreadsheet. You know what I mean? Because you still got to do them. You still got to do your performance in the end of the day, if that's what maybe your investors want to see, or that's the way that you learn. But just quick 2 minutes. Hey, is this a good deal or not? Then you can roll it into something a little bit more detailed.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you're faced with 4, 5, 6 deals, you don't want to spend too much time, right? Boom.
I evaluate 100 deals a week.
Yeah.
I can't do a spreadsheet for every deal. Can't do it.
Right. It's too long, too much. All right, Ryan, man. Listen, I think we can continue. I think we can go on and go on. But you know what? We only have so much time. But I put this slide in because I know this is something.
Where the heck did you get that picture?
I've seen it before. You've told me something before. What's up with something about milking cows? Like, this is a philosophy that you've got?
Oh,
please,
my
tell me
God.
about that.
You can't always milk the cow. You got to feed it too. Is that what you're talking about? Jesus. Oh my God. This is the best. I love this. Okay. So I actually don't know where you got that. Where did you find it?
I don't know. I think I was checking your Facebook or something like that. I
love it. I love it. Yeah. Cool. Well, there's a ton of content out there, so I don't know. I'm shocked. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, man, you can't always milk the cow. You got to feed it too. So I'm a big believer in supporting my team, supporting my crew, supporting my staff, my family, all these guys. Supporting the people that support me. By saying you can't always milk the cow, you got to feed it too. You got to give back. So as a business owner, I actually put a post out on Facebook the other day. I took my guys lunch, right? Okay. Not a huge deal, right? Not a big deal, $30 or something for some sandwiches. But a few days prior, we were joking around about shawarmas, and shawarma sandwiches look like the best. I can't drive past a shawarma place without stopping in, right? And we were joking around about that, and I just thought, I was driving past again, and I thought I'd stop in and get them some sandwiches, because I know when I was working for other people, that the people that did that for me, I really appreciated it, and the people that didn't do that for me, I despised. Right. And not because I felt entitled, but because I knew that there was something better out there. So now I really want to look after my staff. I've done this for, 4 or 5 years, ever since I've had T4 employees. And I'm a big believer in, if you look after your staff, they'll look after you.
That's a great philosophy. I mean, you're right. You really have to give back. It's very important. And I know, Gary, you do the same thing, right?
Yeah, I'm huge on it. Huge on it.
Yeah, like you guys have how many people on your team now on Smart Home Choice?
No, we got what, 3, 4, 5, so 7. Then we got one more coming on soon.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. You guys work cohesively as a team. Can you imagine if you guys butted heads and didn't ever do anything fun? Didn't ever do the meetup groups and didn't ever do the fast start, didn't ever do, any of that stuff that makes you the Smart Home Choice family. The work environment wouldn't be the same.
Right. Yeah. And the big thing that we're doing this year, which we're having a lot of fun with, is the social events. So taking them to the movie theaters, going bowling.
Yeah.
We're going to be renting a bus later on before summer to take them out to Niagara Falls, so that stuff is really important.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Like your team will do, like you spend $100, let's say on lunch, for the team, they'll perform twice as hard for you. So you didn't spend anything at all because everybody else went out there and, they became that much more successful for them
Right.
and for the SHC family, you know? So it's, I don't know, I just think it's a great way to look after people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, look, Ryan, how you talked about your coaching program. How can people reach you? I've got your nice logo here up, but how can people reach you?
Yeah. A couple ways they can get me. One is rwcarinvestment.com. I am actually have more of a preference to social media because that's what we update more often. So you can get me on Facebook. Look me up, Ryan Carr, or the RW Carr Investment Facebook page, or you can get the Instagram handle at RW Carr Investment Co.
Cool. All right. I don't know. Is there anything that we missed? I think we had a lot on our plate tonight, and I think there's a lot more that we could explore. But is there anything that we missed? We're just about at the end of our time here.
Yeah.
I think you went deep, man. You pulled out the milk and cow from my past. I mean, holy smokes. I love it. I love it.
All right, so why don't we do this, and why don't we turn it over to the people that are still on the call here? If you guys have any questions for Ryan, you guys can either type them in the chat box, or if you want, unmute yourselves and fire away.
Let's see. Okay, why don't you take back?
Now I know we've got one question here so far. We've got how big is this tiny house from Jeff?
How big is this tiny house? 253 square feet.
So how tiny is this tiny house?
250. No. So, like, truthfully, people have master bathrooms bigger than this entire house was. I mean, 253 square feet. Your minimum house that you can build in Oshawa is 145 square feet plus a bathroom. So this is like double, I guess you could say.
Right.
But every house or every municipality has a different minimum for what you can build in that area. And as far as the comparison goes, like, I don't know, it's like 12 by 20, roughly.
Right.
So if you drew it out on the ground, 12 by 20.
Okay. What else do we got? Any challenges re bank appraisals for tiny house or coach house? Teresa?
Nope, not at all. So the buyer that purchased this one, sorry, I'll start again. When we first started out this process, I wanted to find out if people could actually close on the deal. So we took it to CIBC. CIBC said, we don't consider anything smaller than 400 square feet. And I thought, oh, geez, we're sunk. All of the big banks are going to be the same. That wasn't the case. We took it to CMHC. And we said, will CMHC approve a tiny house of 253 square feet? And they said, yes, we will. So we then took it back to the bank, and the bank said, we will approve it if CMHC insures the loan. So in the end, they will insure any square footage as long as you cover all of your DCR with the lender and you meet the lender's criteria.
Okay. Questions we have, man?
All right. Any other questions? Must be one more. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I think you and Chris. Yeah, you and Chris went through quite a bit there. It was a lot. It's good.
Yeah, we had a great time. Look, I think we always have a good conversation, right? Anytime I see you,
we do.
Always have a good chat. Yeah. I mean, plus, you know what I like is that you're pretty much an open book, right?
An open book. You're bang on, man. You're bang on.
That's good. That's
no
great.
sense hiding it. Like, what is there to hide? I mean, like, there's lots of guys out there that do deals and never share, and you know, that's how people grow, and that's how they get better. You know, look at all the people that come to your group. Like, they share with each other. They get better. I'm an open book. I share. You know, I come and speak and do webinars and stuff like this. I find it fun. You know, it's inspiring to hear about other people and what they're doing, and other people gave to me, and I like to give back to them too.
Right. All right. Beautiful. Great parting words, man. Gary, do we have any other?
No, I think that's it. I think it was good. And yeah, hopefully we can get you out to one of our mastermind events later on in the year, Ryan.
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah,
actually,
that'd be great.
Okay. So. All right. So, thank you very much for all of you guys out there if you guys want to contact us, well, in fact, I mean, you would have had to register, smarthomechoice.ca. You know where to find us. And I'm Christopher Hummel, Gary Hibbert, Ryan Carr. All right, guys. And for all of you folks that want to watch this again, we are going to be posting it up pretty soon, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Good.
All right, cool.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, and one last thing again too, just again, if you guys really want some good coaching, reach out to Ryan. He's the man, and he can definitely share some great insight on what to do, especially if you're stuck, right? Everybody that wants to go up that ladder of success needs a good mentor, right? I haven't met a rich hermit, so all right. that's my closing remarks. All right.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, guys.
All right.